All right, hello and welcome to episode 2 of my designer POV series where I take you along the design process of making a board game. So this is a new idea I have had and I've just been working on it for a week now. I did one other video in this series, so if you want to watch that first, that'll give you a lot more context. In this video, I'm going to focus on the updates that I've made since the last video. So just in general, this is a board game about the battle between cousins Maud and Stephen in the 1100s over the Battle of the Throne in England and Normandy. So I've made quite a few changes, but the main ones are some of you suggested, well, you alluded to the fact that in my original action selection system, it could be a bit fiddly. In my previous system, and it might not even be previous, I might bring this back, I'm not 100% sure, but in my first version, I had cubes on each of these different actions. Whichever ones you didn't do, they would all move down one space, making them stronger. So there were cubes on each of these tracks, and then whichever one you didn't do goes down, and which one you did do goes back up to the top. So you would have to move 5 cubes at the end of every single round, which was not a huge deal, but yes, I do agree, it was a bit fiddly. And there were times where I would do 2 actions, and then I'd be resetting, and I would do that, and I would do that, and I was like, oh no, wait, I did that one. Did I do that one? Like, I would just kind of forget which ones that I moved down and which ones go back up. And so there was possibilities of people forgetting what they did when they were resetting. So first of all, I tried a different system. This is going to be really light. I don't know if you can really see this, but I tried this more simple system where the players just had 5 different actions they could do, and there was no increasing of other actions that you don't do. So it was a lot more simplified. And then there were upgrade tiles that you could buy and place them over top of these to upgrade them. So that definitely worked. It was a lot more streamlined, and then just had 2 action cubes up here. And then whichever ones you did, you would move the cube onto that action, do that thing. The reason I have 2 for each of them is that you can take 2 actions and you can do the same one twice if you want. So you could move, and then you could decide to move again. So then both your cubes would be there, and then all you have to do is just reset those 2 action cubes to the top of the mat. So that definitely, it worked. I was a little sad that I lost, one of my darlings of the idea of increasing the actions that you don't do. So I was like, okay, let's try the Arc Nova, the style that's more like Arc Nova. I resisted it just because I was trying to do something just different. Like, I didn't want people to be like, oh, so it's Arc Nova. I do think that the system that they use in Arc Nova makes a lot of sense. And the way that it's used in mine is slightly different because you can do 2 different things. And there's also these tracks. So if it ain't broke, don't fix it kind of thing. So yeah, I do think that this works a lot better. So this is what I'm going to be testing tonight. Oh yeah, I have a play test tonight. It's going to be my first time playing with someone, like having someone else play the game. So we'll see how that goes. I'm going to try it this way with that person, and we'll see how that goes. So if you haven't played Arc Nova or you don't know Arc Nova, the idea is these are the 5 actions that you can take, but the ones over on the far right are stronger than the ones on the far left. And so the idea is if you decide to take the collect action over here, it would be at level 5, which is $3. But if the collect action was over here, level 1, it's just $1. So then let's say you decide, okay, well, I'm going to collect. I get $3. And then I will defeat, which is at level 4. So that would be, I can take off 2 of Stephen's soldiers. So let's pretend Maud is here. And so then she gets to take off 2 of Stephen's soldiers. Those are the 2 actions you got to do at level 5 and level 4. So then you would return your action cube, move this to the back of the queue, put your action cube, move this to the back of the queue, and then move these up. So there still is a little bit of upkeep, but there's far less chance of the player forgetting to move a cube down, and it's just a lot more streamlined. So I'm keeping it like that for now. I just played this game, so this is the end game state. So these are upgraded tracks. So at the start of the game, they'll just be the standard basic tracks, but then you can upgrade. There are, I don't know if you can see, yeah, over there. Those are better tracks over there you can buy. I think I'm going to have to adjust the price, but right now it's $3 to get the first upgrade and then $5 to get the next one. So let's say you're like, okay, I really want to get better at defend. So then you would pay, what is it? $3 to upgrade your defend track. Now you have this one. So now, if you're at level 5, instead of being able to place 3 soldiers, you can place 4. So I do know you can upgrade action cards in Arc Nova. On the back side, they have an upgraded action. So it is similar to that as well, but then you can't upgrade a third time. So if you want to get really good at defend, you can get the next upgrade for another $5. And now level 5, you can remove, or you can place 6 soldiers, which is very strong. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. I think I'm happy with how it's working right now. So yeah, we'll see how that goes. That was a big change. And I tested it like this a couple times. And I tested it like this one time and then a couple times like this. And so I do think of the 3, this is my favorite. So thanks to everyone who suggested just, taking inspiration from Arc Nova even more. So I will see how that goes. Okay, so that was the action selection system. Oh yeah, just a note that I think I will have to adjust all of these values with this new system, because say you do these 2 things, everything moves down, things are going to jump up 2 spaces instead of 1 in my previous system. So these base numbers, I think they all need to be brought down because they can power up faster than my previous version. So yeah, so I was able to do a lot when I played it this way with this different action selection system. Okay. Oh, and then also because in this system, they're all starting at different levels. So certain actions are going to start at full strength. In my previous version, they all started at the level 1. So they all slowly increased. In this version, one of them is already fully powered up. Then level 4, 3, 2, and 1. So this makes the base abilities even stronger. So that's another reason I need to lower all of these. So it might have to be like 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, or something like that. Okay, so another change I made is the win conditions. I wanted to add a bit more tension around the placing of soldiers, taking inspiration from Pandemic, where you're worried about outbreaks. Like if a city in Pandemic gets a certain number of virus cubes, it will outbreak to other cities. I did think about trying to do that, but I know in outbreaks in Pandemic, they can be a little hard for players to wrap their head around, especially if there's chain reactions. So I didn't want to have to deal with that in this game. So there's no, nothing happens if a ton of Steven's soldiers pile up in a certain city. But instead, I did want to make there to be a way for the player to secure a city with Maud's soldiers. So she has motivation to get 4 of her soldiers in one city, because then she can place one of her banners, and now no more of Steven's soldiers can be placed there. So that is locked down, kind of like in Pandemic when viruses are eradicated. So you still need to have majority to do this. You need to get 4 of your soldiers and have majority, and then you can place a banner. So like if Steven has 5 soldiers in a city, that's not great, because then you have to place 4 and remove his to lock it down. So it just adds a bit more, it gives the player some little wins in the game, which I think is nice, to be able to be like, okay, I know that city is secure. No more of Steven's soldiers will be added there. I can move on to other things, because there were certain situations where the player might lose the game in the very last turn because one of Steven's soldiers was placed in a city. Like maybe they had 4, but like 2 of Steven's soldiers were placed there, and then they lost because they lost the majority in that city. and that wasn't a good feeling. So giving the player these little wins, the player being me so far, I have enjoyed that because it's like, okay, we're making progress. This could be possible. So right now I'm saying there's a win condition of if you get all 7 of your banners out there, you've secured all 7 cities, you immediately win. And the second win condition is once you go through the entire deck, then you check to see if you have majority or tie in all of the cities. And if you do, you win that way as well. And I have won both ways so far in my playtests. But yeah, I originally thought about having these banners come out when Steven had 4 or more soldiers in a city, and then it would be even harder to remove his soldiers. So if there was a banner in a city with like 5 of Steven's soldiers, it would take 2 defeat actions to remove one of his soldiers until you get to 3 or less, and then you would remove his banner. Thanks to someone in the comments who suggested that last time as well. And that just, it didn't really work. It was just a bit fiddly of like, okay, so there's 4 there. I go there. I use 2 defeat to remove 1. Now it's back down to 3. And now it's 1 action per soldier. It was just a lot to remember. Yeah, there was also the issue of, well, what if Maud has like 4 soldiers and Steven has 4? Would you, or Maud has 5 soldiers and Steven has 4. Would you still place his banner? She has the majority. Why would he have his banner there? So it just didn't make a lot of sense that way. And so then I was like, well, what if the banners were actually for Maud and they were good instead of bad? And that has been working well. Yeah. And also it was like, you know, placing a banner for Steven once he had 4 or more, removing it once it got down to 3, oh, then putting 1 back if he got more to 4. So it was just, yeah, it wasn't super smooth. So this is working better this way where they are for Maud and it's an instant win condition. Okay. Other major change is that for the allies, these cards, I think these cards are where the main of the fun is in this game. So I'm stoked about how these are working out. They're basically like special actions and abilities you can have in the game. And you can acquire them and put them over on that side, and then you can activate them. That is not an action to activate them. It's an action to reset them. So if you remember from last time, I was having some issues with the Inspire track. And so I kind of got rid of it and it wasn't quite working. And a few people in the comments had some suggestions about it. So thank you for that. So yes, the Inspire track is back. And now instead of it being, you can activate this number of cards, it is you can reset this number of cards, which is kind of something I was doing before, but I was saying reset all of them, and that was too powerful. So now it's back on a track with resetting. That has been working really well, actually. But the big change for allies, I had them before where they cost money. The upgraded tracks cost money. Some of the events cost money. Some of these special abilities cost money. And so just a lot of things were costing money. And so a lot of these allies weren't coming out because they just cost so much. So I thought about lowering the price, but then I was like, wait a minute, what if instead of everything costing money, what if there was a different currency in the game, like an additional currency in the game? So yes, some things can cost money, but what about it with these guys? They cost movement, meaning they would be at different locations on the board, and Maud or Jeffrey would have to go to those locations to meet up with them, and then they could take that card. So I thought that was interesting. So I tried that out, and that has been working well. But now they're almost possibly too easy to acquire. You just have to go to the city that they're in. You can take the card for free. I think once I reduce the base movement and the upgrades, it might balance out. But I am considering possibly just having a $1 cost for the allies rather than making it free to pick them up as long as you're in their city. So that's something I'm messing around with. I am excited with how you're going to get quite a few allies in the game. When I tried it this way, I had like 6 or 7, and it was way too much to keep track of. So now I maxed it out. You can have a max of 5 allies, and you can swap them out. So like if you get a better one or one you just like better, that combo's better with what you have, you can pick them up, but then you have to discard down to 5. That's been working well. And also I just like thematically that these allies are in different parts of the countries. and you have to go meet them and convince them to come be on your side and help you out. So that's been cool. I've enjoyed that a lot, and it encourages a lot more movement around the whole maps, which I like, rather than just staying stagnant and then just paying for an ally regardless of where they are. Another big change is I turn over 3 cards instead of 1 per round. So you can see, like on this card, it says Dover, add 3 of Stephen's soldiers. So I'm just ignoring that now, and I'm just saying whenever you turn over a city card, you just add 1 every time. So then I added 1 city card for each city. So now there are 4 city cards per city. But then I discard 3 random city cards at the start of the game. So when you add in the 5 event cards, you should have 33 cards, 3 cards per round. That's 11 rounds in the game, and that seems to be right around the right amount of time. One other thing about turning over the cards that I tried this last game that worked well is that I turn over 3 vertical and then I turn over 3 horizontal, and I alternate between those, because there were times where I ended the game and I just had 1 card left over, or I was short a card and I clearly had messed up. I hadn't turned over 3 every single time. So now I turn over 3 this way and then this way, and then it's easy to keep track to make sure you don't miss a card. One thing I am trying is there are 5 event cards in this deck, and they're things like you have to feed your soldiers, and if you don't have $5 to feed them, then you have to remove some of your soldiers from the map. Things like that will happen in the game. So something I am trying, because there was a game where, 2 really bad events happened, and there's no way that I could have prepared for them. I didn't know they were coming. I mean, I did, because I made this game and I knew what was coming, but I pretended like I didn't. And it just felt kind of bad. I was like, well, how was I expected to know to save $5 to feed the troops? Like, I don't know. So something I'm trying is that at the start of the game, it's going to be like the rumor phase or insider information or something like that phase, where the player gets to look at the 5 events that will be in that game. And so they don't know when they'll come up, but they do have an idea. They do know what 5 events will happen in the game, so they can kind of prepare. Like, for example, in this game, I knew that there was going to be a riot at Shrewsbury. So then I placed one of my soldiers there. So then when that card was turned over, it says if Maud has at least 1 soldier there, the riot won't happen. So that was a cool moment, because I was like, oh, I'm glad I prepared for that riot in Shrewsbury. I chose to spend an action to do that because I knew it was going to come up. So anytime you can have a player feel clever like that, it's always a good thing, I think. One other thing is that this is the end game state, so those are my 5 allies I had in the game. But at the start of the game, I'm starting with a starting ally. So like there's a little S in the top right corner. And so these are kind of like, they're good, but they're not OP. They're not overly powerful things, but they're just a little boost to give you at the start of the game. These will most likely be replaced with other allies. But I have like +2 defeat, +2 move, +2 money. They're just kind of boosts for your actions. And so I thought that was good, because something I'm keeping my eye on in this game is replayability. So far, it's actually been okay. I've been a little worried that every game would feel exactly the same. But so far, every game has actually been completely different, which is very, very exciting. And I do think these help a little bit, because depending on what starting ally you have, that might possibly change your strategy from the jump on what you decide to do, and it might kind of change the course of the game. So these have been really cool to kind of get a jump start, starting with a starting ally. The track upgrades, I mentioned last time that, yeah, I don't think, I reduced it from 3 upgrades to 2 upgrades. So now you can upgrade a maximum of 2 times. And I am saying that you have to upgrade first level and then you can do the next one. You can't just jump to the most powerful one. So right now I'm saying it's $3 to upgrade the first, $5 to upgrade the second. So those might need to go up. You can tell how many times I've adjusted the price of these upgrades. So for tonight's playtest, I might just leave it at 3 and 5 and see how it goes. So I just actually came back from the dollar store. I picked up more index cards. I really wish there were index cards that were not lined. They were just blank on both sides. If anyone has seen those anywhere, let me know. But yeah, so I'm going to update this prototype before my playtest tonight so that people can actually read my scribbles and so I'm going to update all of the cards. I also got some nice bags that I can put everything in. These are like the perfect size for board games, so that was sweet to find those at the dollar store. And then I spent way too much time. You can see this map is a bit confusing because it's like, what are these pieces? What are these pieces? So these pieces I was using for mod soldiers. These are panda coins. But I ran out of them, and so then I was just using random other bits for my prototyping supplies. So these pieces are actually on the same team, but I mean, how would you know that? So I spent way too much time at the dollar store trying to find these wooden cubes that I swear they had not that long ago. I could not find these anywhere. It was super frustrating. I spent like half an hour, and I do not have time to be spending that much time on this, but I eventually found these wooden cubes. I guess it's like a necklace or something. So I'm going to use those for mods soldiers, and then these for Steven soldiers. Yes, they're the same color, and that is bothering me, but I'm resisting the urge to color each one of these a different color. It is fine. It is fine. The person who plays this tonight should be able to tell the difference between these two pieces. Yeah, all right. So in general, I would say I am really enjoying playtesting this solo, like designing a solo game. I've been really enjoying because I've been able to grind through like 5 playtests in the past week. And just like, it's just so easy to playtest when I just need me. I don't need a group of people. So I've been really enjoying that a lot. We will see how tonight's playtest goes. I'm currently the only person signed up for it, so hopefully someone else shows up and they can play it and give me some feedback. But thanks to everyone who has commented saying that they would like to playtest this once I get a digital prototype done. I will definitely be doing that. So I think, I'm pretty sure I will. Based on my playtest so far, I have personally been really enjoying this. So I do see myself making a digital prototype about this for this soon-ish. And that's, oh yeah, that's another big thing to talk about I completely didn't talk about for the past half an hour, is that thank you to everyone who let me know about the game called The Anarchy, which is about this same exact specific period in time in history that just came out this year that I did not know about. And that's just how it goes. I know a lot of you out there can relate to designing a game and then finding out that a similar theme or similar game mechanically has come out recently or just is already out. So that was definitely disappointing, but thank you for everyone who let me know. That's another great thing about this video series, is I can share the game early on, so then people can let me know about games that are similar. Yes, I should have Googled this. That is on me. But thank you for everyone for letting me know about the game called The Anarchy. So when I looked into it, I actually saw that The Anarchy is on Steven's side, not on Maud's side. So I was very happy to see that, because that is a completely different side to this story. I am very excited to show Maud's side, and so very, very happy that in The Anarchy, it's not focused on Maud. So that is the main reason I'm continuing with this game, but I definitely was at a fork in the road that a lot of designers reach when they design games, is, should I continue with this game or should I archive it? If another game with a similar theme has just come out or already is on the market, should I archive this or should I keep going? I thought about it a lot. I looked into The Anarchy a lot, and I actually found out there are some other games also called The Anarchy, and then another game that might be coming out that's under consideration by a publisher that someone let me know that they are working on, but it also seems very different mechanically. But it was just wild how I thought that, probably a bit naively, I thought that there's no way someone has made a board game about this specific battle in history. I just did not see that happening, but it did. So I have decided to keep moving forward. This game is very different mechanically. and thematically from the Anarchy because it is focusing on Maud's struggle, not Steven's. So yes, I will be continuing with it. But the main thing that I took away from learning about the Anarchy and other similar like themed games is I'm not going to spend a year working on this game. It really, you know, I that is the worst when you spend a year or more on a game and then you discover a similar game already exists. The publishers aren't interested. So I'm giving myself a deadline, I think, of 3 months that I'm really going to put everything into this game, get it to a point where I'm very happy, start pitching it. And then if I see that people are like, the Anarchy just came out, I'm not interested, then at least I didn't spend a year on this. Yeah, so I really do not want to drag this out if publishers do eventually say, they're not interested because the Anarchy already exists. I don't see that happening, to be honest, because this is, like I said, a very different angle to it, and very different mechanically. Very, very different. But you just never know. So I just don't want to invest a year of my life to then see that publishers are not interested. So that's where we're at. I need to update this prototype so that another human can understand it and read it and play it. So I will let you know how that goes. And thank you so much for watching. And please let me know if you have any thoughts or comments on the changes that I made and the general direction that I'm going. I would love to hear that in the comments below. Thank you so much for following along, and I'll see you next time. Bye.